Join me as I dig deep and try to uncover Brian Carn's biggest secret. Will I find the truth or just more questions? Brian Carn is a name that resonates with many in the religious community, particularly among those who follow televangelism. He's known for his prosperity gospel preaching and has amassed a significant following over the years. However, like many influential figures, his life and ministry have not been without controversy. There's been a lot of chatter about Brian Carn's rise to fame and the methods he uses to attract and retain his audience. Some have raised eyebrows at his youth ministry, questioning how a man so young could have such a profound impact on so many. Others have been more critical, suggesting that his message is more about wealth and material success than spiritual growth. For years, Prophet Brian Carn has been praised, defended, and followed by thousands. But behind the prophecies and powerful sermons, there's one problem that keeps resurfacing, and it refuses to go away. It's not rumors from haters or random internet noise. It's a pattern that has raised serious questions, divided the church world, and made even loyal supporters uncomfortable. Today, we're breaking down the real issue many don't want to talk about. And once you see the full picture, you'll understand why this controversy keeps coming back stronger every time. When conversations about modern prophets come up, Prophet Brian Carn's name is almost always in the mix. Known for delivering highly specific prophecies, emotional altar calls, and moments that go viral across church social media, he has built a powerful platform and a devoted following. To many, he represents bold faith and spiritual authority. To others, he represents something far more complicated. Over the past several years, concerns about Brian Carn haven't disappeared. In fact, they've grown louder. Not because of one isolated incident, but because of a recurring issue that keeps resurfacing in different forms. Supporters call it persecution, critics call it accountability, and somewhere in the middle is a growing group of people simply asking for clarity. In this video, we're going to carefully walk through the documented controversies surrounding Prophet Brian Carn, the specific behaviors and accusations that continue to raise red flags, and why many believe his biggest problem isn't one scandal, but a pattern that keeps repeating. This isn't about gossip or tearing down faith. It's about examining facts, timelines, and public responses that are already on record. And make sure you stay until the end because later we'll get into the moment that caused even long-time church leaders to say this can't keep being ignored. To understand why Prophet Brian Carn's name keeps coming up in controversy, you first have to understand how quickly and visibly his rise happened. Brian Carn didn't come up quietly. He emerged during a time when prophetic ministry was exploding online, with church clips going viral and sermons turning into shareable moments across social media. From early on, Brian Carn became known for highly detailed prophecies calling out names, birthdays, financial situations, and personal struggles in front of large audiences. These moments spread fast to supporters. This was evidence of a powerful prophetic anointing. To critics, it immediately raised questions about methodology, accountability, and boundaries. His platform grew rapidly. Invitations to major churches, conferences, and prophetic gatherings followed. He began sharing stages with well-known pastors and prophets, which added legitimacy in the eyes of many believers. With growth came influence, and with influence came expectations. But almost as quickly as his fame increased, so did the concerns. Some observers began pointing out patterns in how his prophetic moments unfolded. Critics noted similarities in language across different services, repeated prophetic themes, and moments where information appeared to be drawn from public cues rather than divine revelation. None of this was ever proven as wrongdoing, but the questions didn't disappear either. At the same time, Brian Carn's ministry leaned heavily into public displays of authority, strong language, firm corrections, and moments where individuals were called out in front of congregations. For supporters, this was bold leadership. For others, it felt uncomfortable and at times excessive. The church world began to quietly divide. Some leaders praised him openly and defended his calling. Others distanced themselves without explanation, and some former supporters began asking why concerns were never directly addressed. What made things more complicated was the lack of transparency. When questions surfaced, responses were often framed as spiritual attacks rather than practical concerns. Critics were labeled as rebellious or lacking discernment. That framing made open discussion difficult and allowed tension to build beneath the surface. And then came the accusations. Not one single moment, but a series of allegations over time that followed a similar pattern. Claims from individuals who said they were mistreated, manipulated, or spiritually pressured. Again, not all claims were proven, but the consistency of the stories caught people's attention. This is where many believe the real issue began. Because when the same type of concern keeps appearing from different people at different times in different places, it becomes harder to dismiss it as coincidence, especially when those concerns are never clearly resolved in public. Brian Carn continued preaching, continued prophesying, continued growing his audience, but the questions followed him. And coming up next, we're going to talk about the specific allegations that caused the most backlash, what was actually claimed, and why these moments marked a turning point in how people viewed his ministry. Now that we understand how Prophet Brian Carn rose to prominence, it's important to look at the specific incidents that have fueled controversy. These aren't random rumors. At the heart of the controversy is a rumor that has been circulating for years, the claim that Brian Carn faked his prophetic abilities and essentially built his ministry on deceit. This rumor suggests that rather than having a genuine gift from God, Carn has been using manipulation and showmanship to convince his followers of his divine connection. This rumor originated from various sources, including former associates and critics who claim to have inside information. They point to instances where Carn's prophecies were either inaccurate or conveniently vague, allowing him to maintain a veneer of legitimacy. Delving deeper into these allegations, it's clear that the situation is complex. On one hand, there are those who staunchly defend Carn, arguing that his ministry has brought hope and prosperity to countless lives. They dismiss the rumors as jealousy and the result of misunderstanding his prophetic style. On the other hand, there are detailed accounts and testimonies from people who claim to have been misled or even harmed by Carn's practices. These accounts add fuel to the fire, suggesting that there might be more to Carn's ministry than meets the eye. The critical piece of information that sheds light on these rumors involves an investigation into Carn's early ministry days. It appears there are records and interviews that suggest Carn did not always present himself as a prophet. This revelation challenges the narrative that he has built his entire ministry on being a man of God with a direct line to the divine. Understanding this evolution is crucial because it provides a context that either vindicates or condemns Carn, depending on one's perspective. If Carn did indeed transition from a more conventional preacher to a self-proclaimed prophet, the question remains as to why and how he did it. Recapping the key points, the controversy surrounding Brian Carn centers on the authenticity of his prophetic claims and the methods he uses to maintain his ministry. The implications are significant, not just for Carn himself but for his followers and the broader religious community. If the allegations are true, it raises serious questions about faith, trust, and the exploitation of religious sentiments for personal gain. If you have any thoughts on this, please let me know in the comments below. If you're interested in more content like this, be sure to check out my other videos. Thanks for the watching and subscribe.